Is this working? Okay, there we go. Hey everyone. I'm really excited to be back here. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. I am feeling good today. A little bit tired. I just got back from my trip in the woods by myself, although I was joined by a couple of friends one night. But these little retreats on my own into nature are definitely a non negotiable for me these days. So I am really happy that I got that time and also happy to be back and happy to be here with all of you. If you're watching, please say hi so I can tune in with your energy. And we're going to get started. So it's funny, when I created the event for this, which I believe was just yesterday, what I was told is that I was going to talk about like 5D and ascension and all of that. And then this morning, the guides were like, no, you have to talk about emotions. And the reason why is because we like all of this higher consciousness and raising your frequency and all the energetic tools that I use with people and the magic and all of that um, is really rooted in how we navigate our emotions and our emotional awareness. And until we deal with our emotions, none of that stuff is really going to land and it's not going to be effective in the way that you would want it to be effective, right? So we have to deal with our emotions first. And what I'm seeing with a lot of people lately that I'm working with or that are like kind of circling me or whatever is like right now, it's kind of like a pivotal point in our like human evolution, especially this time in February, where it feels like we're really being pushed to um, to really look at ourselves and to really like push through some of this older programming or like that one thing that you haven't addressed or haven't been willing to address, or like a really, really deep wound that you haven't gotten to yet. Like, now's the time for you to move through it so that you can actually step into like these really big gifts that you meant to share, because that you're meant to share on the planet, because like we really need you right now. Hi Nadia, hi Molly. Oh, it's Saturday for you guys. Happy Saturday then. Okay. So, welcome. So yeah, so right now what I'm seeing with a lot of people is really needing to dive deep into some older emotions that have to be addressed in order for us to really step into like these bigger versions of ourselves. So I want to talk about that today a little bit and what that really means and why um, really dealing with our deeper emotions that we might not even be aware of is like a non-negotiable, and how it has to be done. Like we cannot skip over that and just get to like the raising your frequency or the ascension or like really stepping into your gifts. Like it's just, it doesn't work that way. We have to deal with our emotions first, because what kind of happens is like if you could imagine like a glass of water and there's like dirt at the bottom, when we start to raise our frequency and we start to grow and really step into having holding more light and holding a higher frequency and starting to access these other dimensions of information, other realms that we're connected to, it's kind of like the water stirs up and the dirt stirs up. So like we have to deal with that dirt that gets stirred up, or else it's just going to muck things up. So it's going to make it harder for us to really step into the version of yourself that you really came here to be. So we have to deal with the emotional stuff first. So okay, so what does that actually mean? So, a lot of us are carrying emotional weight from ancestral programming, past lives, and then also this current lifetime, even if you didn't have like a family that anything particularly bad happened, we still took on ancestral trauma or family trauma, or even just like certain levels of consciousness or ways of looking at the world. And then we also have what I call the trauma of being human, which is really just about being a human on planet Earth and how ridiculously fucked up it is, and being traumatized from that, right? Um, I was listening to a podcast earlier, and they were talking about, even if somebody like a teacher or something said something to you like, oh, well, that wasn't good enough, or you could have done it better, and it was something that you put your heart and soul into, that can be really crushing as a child, to have that feeling of not being good enough be kind of really, what's the word, like rammed into your system and really like solidified into your system, because we're all dealing with this fear of not being good enough, or this very deep underlying feeling that there's something inherently wrong with us and we are inherently not good enough and therefore going to fail. And we all are carrying that on one level or another. And what I'm seeing right now is a lot of people kind of being forced to face that in whatever way that they need to face it at this time. And the reason why is because we are going through like an initiation right now, and it's an initiation of consciousness, it's an evolution of consciousness, because you came here to share a certain frequency, you came here to share a certain medicine that's very much needed on this planet. Like, you actually like agreed that you were going to come here and share this. And in order for you to do that, which you naturally feel like this pull in your heart to do, right? And I'm sure everyone can relate to this, where you feel almost like you're being pulled in this direction, and it's almost like you don't have control over it, like you have to, you have to, you have to. It's because you were meant to do this. But in order to really hold that light frequency and that essence that you're meant to kind of like radiate out from you, you have to kind of release, you have to, not kind of, you have to release a lot of the ancestral karma, the ancestral trauma, and these deeper shadow aspects of yourself that you are carrying from this lifetime and other lifetimes, and that you've been carrying down the ancestral line. So, and I know like I talk about this a lot, but there's something about right now where a lot of people are being called into this initiation even further than what I've seen before. Meaning, I'm seeing more and more people having to face like the part of themselves that actually doesn't want to be on this planet, right? It's what I call the unconscious death urge, which is, and I know this sounds like really like dark and dreary, but I'm a Scorpio, so it doesn't bother me. Hopefully, it doesn't bother you either. But it's the unconscious wish to die because being on the planet is too painful, right? And everybody has that in some form. And I don't talk about this a lot because it is a lot for some people, but I'm seeing it come up for so many people right now, my clients, and I'm hearing other people talk about it, that I know that it's like in the collective energy right now, and we're all kind of purging this. Because the other thing that came through really strong um, for me last week, and I mentioned this to my women in the Quantum Accelerator, but I'm going to say it here too, is we're also being kind of forced right now to claim our incarnation, like claim this life, and that you chose to come here for a reason, and that you have a mission, and this time you're going to carry it out. Like, I've been getting this message a lot for people about claiming their incarnation and saying like, okay, I am 100% committed to doing what I have to do to carry out the mission that I agreed to in this lifetime. Like, there's something about this time, this life, that it's like now or never, because like we're on this brink of like the evolution of the species that like we have to carry out what we said we were going to do. And in really claiming your incarnation, you are forced to face like the shadow side of yourself, which actually like doesn't want to be here. And I know a lot of people can relate to this because I see people and I hear people talk about this all the time, about like part of you, and I felt it too a lot, and I've moved through a lot of it, which is why I can help people move through it as well. But it's the part of you that's like, being on this planet is way too complicated, it's way too painful, it's way too depressing, there's so much crazy shit going on, and I would just rather not be here. And we have to face that part of ourselves if we're going to fully embrace and fully claim this incarnation. So that's another thing that I'm seeing with so many people right now, is that we're kind of being forced and like pushed to really do this so that we can carry out what we said we were going to do when we came here, which is to share your unique frequency with the world, anchor it onto the planet, and then additionally be an antenna of that frequency so that the people that are meant to work with you, the people that are meant to be your clients or be in your energy field, will naturally be attracted to you because you're just holding that frequency and you're emanating it like an antenna. And that's a lot of the work that we do in the quantum accelerator, is we just continue to tune your frequency so that you are that antenna for the exact people and situations and circumstances that are meant to be in your field, that are meant to be drawn to you, because they specifically need your frequency to activate their frequency so that they can do what they are meant to do. And this is something that I'm shown very clearly all the time. So back to the emotional stuff. So because of this like energetic push, right? It's kind of like a push where it's like, okay, now's the time. Like I think a lot of us, you know, in March 13th, 2020, when everything shut down, there was a lot of us who automatically knew, right? Like we were like, oh, it's go time. This is the time. This is why I came here. And I know for me, and a lot of people I know can relate to this, is I always had an awareness my entire life. I remember for the first time, maybe when I was like 7 or 8 or 9, that the world was going to really change and it wasn't going to go on like it was forever. Like I always had that awareness, but I didn't know what that meant or what it was going to look like or anything about it. I just knew it wasn't going to keep going the way that it was. And then when March 2020 hit, I was like, oh, this is it. Like, this is the time. And I know a lot of people have felt the same way. And since that time, we've kind of been forced into this initiation of consciousness where it's like, okay, you have to deal with this, you have to deal with that, you have to start your business, which is another initiation of consciousness, right? Where you are forced to look at yourself, you're forced to grow, you're forced to embrace your shadow, you're forced to do that deeper inner work, because if you don't, then shit's just not going to work, right? So you have to. So we have kind of been forced since that time to really deal with our emotions, because, you know, and I'm going to put now my school counselor hat on for a moment, because I spent over a decade working with traumatized children, which is why, you know, the metamorphosis is so powerful for releasing childhood trauma, partially because of that experience. But what I saw over and over and over again, and what I kind of surmised from my experience, is that no one is given any tools to deal with their emotions. In fact, we're discouraged from it. And no one that I have ever worked with, and I've worked with a lot of people now, including, you know, children from my school counseling life, no one that I've ever encountered had parents that modeled to them successful and healthy emotional expression. Never. I've never met that person ever. Maybe they're out there, and I really hope that they are, but I have never met them. And I've never heard that that's a thing. So what we are forced to do now is deal with our emotions and figure out how to do that when no one has ever modeled it, right? And of course, now there's people that are teaching this and sharing this and helping people with this. You know, I'm not the only one. But because of this and because of what I witnessed for so long of just seeing kids being completely emotionally paralyzed, having no words to express the way that they were feeling, having no way of knowing that they were even feeling something that needed to be expressed, and being modeled either a very unhealthy expression of emotion or extreme suppression of emotion. So, what that does is it shows you that it's not okay for you to feel something or experience something that is innately part of being human. We human beings are emotional beings. That is the way that we receive information about who we are and what we're supposed to do, is through emotion. That's also how we recognize energy. That's how we tune into subtle energy. That's how we learn how to work with our own energy, is through emotion. We have to learn how to deal with it, and it's something that has been hidden from us. So, the first step in raising our consciousness, in raising our frequency, in stepping into a new reality, a new way of being, is we have to deal with this first. There's no other way. So, dealing with our emotions that have been suppressed for so long can feel overwhelming, because when you don't deal with something and it just piles up and piles up and piles up and piles up, it feels overwhelming. But the thing is, when you feel it, it actually releases and it actually shifts, and then your life just starts to change. That's why when people start doing my breathwork sessions, they're like, oh my God, I feel totally different. This happened, that happened. Now I know what to do. Now I know where to go. This opportunity came out of nowhere. It's because of that emotional release. We're releasing energy. And we're finally dealing with these emotions that have piled up for the last, 35 years or however long, right? So this is so important. And a lot of times we have become so accustomed to coping with our emotions by way of suppressing them by some way. We all have found these very complex and really good coping mechanisms, right, for dealing with our emotions, whatever they are, right? Drinking wine, shopping, coffee, gossiping, creating drama, like whatever it is. There's so many. And I'm not shaming anyone for it, because I have my own too. Watching Real Housewives, that's another really good one. So we all do it, and it's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. But what I'm saying is, there is no, like, we need to normalize actually dealing with how we actually felt, and not rationalizing it or over logicalizing it away, right? We have to allow it to be what it is without needing it to be different, and without needing to change it or pretending it's not there. And that is step number one. We need to do that. We need to deal with our emotions. So it was very clear today that this is what I was supposed to talk about, because this is like the foundation to creating new, right? To creating, because once you master that, or once you really start to delve into that, then, and I see this with everybody, then everything starts to open up. Your psychic abilities come online, the way you're supposed to help people heal comes online, or whatever you're supposed to do, it all becomes really clear, because now you're a clear channel for the energy that's supposed to move through you. And I see it with everybody. Once you start to clear out that emotional gunk, the energy starts to move and everything becomes clear. And you become a magnet for the things that you desire, and you become that frequency antenna drawing to you what you're supposed to experience. But we have to deal with the emotional stuff first. So that is like the very big message today, and it can't be skipped over. And also, it's about learning what that looks like for you, and the best way for you to do that, right? To really start embracing and acknowledging our emotionality as humans, and being able to use our emotions as a method of receiving information instead of thinking that there's some kind of uncomfortable inconvenience. They are actually the way that we tune into energy and that we receive information about ourselves and other people. So once we can start looking, like once you can kind of clear out all the suppressed emotions, then you can use the emotions that you're feeling as a way to interpret information, because that's what they are. That's all they are. It's a way to tune into subtle energy. And then once you can do that, then you learn how to work with your own energy. And that's when the magic really starts happening, right? And that's what we're doing in the quantum accelerator, is we are learning how to work with our own energy so that things just start miraculously unfolding in these ways that we never thought were possible, because you're tuning into the subtle energetics within yourself, within other people, and you know how to work with it because you're able to tune into those subtle emotional processes and what they mean. Okay. So that is basically what I have for today. How can I, like, if you're watching this and you're like, how do I start this, or how, oh, hi, Andrea. Hi, Ruby. Um, oh, that's funny. Your guides reminded you to jump on. Okay. So how do we deal with our emotions, right? And I know a lot of you are already doing this, but I really was getting the strong pull to share about this again, because I think it's really helpful for everybody in your process. We need to remember that this is such an important part of our process, is our emotions and listening to them and learning how to work with them, right? So right now we have the quantum accelerator on early bird. So this is where we learn how to work with our energy, right? And this is where we get the support to step into the most expressed version of ourselves. If you guys have not listened to my latest podcast episode with Diana, please go listen to it, because her story and the attunements and all of the tools, but also the amazing support of the community. Everybody agrees who's in there, and I have some more people that just joined, which I'm super excited about. That this community of women is very gifted, very spiritually gifted, and the support that you get, like I've seen women who come in who maybe aren't accessing their spiritual gifts in the way that they wanted to, and then by the end of the program it's like a whole other thing, a whole other thing. So right now we're in early bird. Calls start 222. They're every other week. And we do frequency attunements, channel transmission, and sharing and support. So what are frequency attunements? So basically what I do is I tune into everyone's energy and I kind of see where your frequency is, and then I channel the frequency that you need to upgrade your frequency so that you are then an energetic match for what you are meant to call into your life. So it's kind of like tuning a radio station so that you're an antenna for all of the things that you're calling in and what is aligned for your soul's mission and purpose. And then additionally, the frequencies that I channel have this like healing effect where people move through deep ancestral trauma, emotional energy, and old patterns really, really quickly. So you get those on every call, plus we support each other. There's sharing, there's a ton of support, plus you get access to a huge toolkit of breathwork sessions, meditations, journaling, and then I also am adding in 2 more frequency attunement recordings that you can do on your own to continue to tune your frequency to be that really high frequency antenna at all times. So it's kind of amazing. It's really a no-brainer at this price point. So early bird is going to be available until next Friday. I'll put the link here, but you can just DM me with questions about it to see if it's a fit for you. But most likely, if you feel drawn to it, then it is a fit for you and you should just listen to that. But I'd be happy to chat with you about it. And then also, if you're wanting to talk further about going really deep with the emotional stuff, then the metamorphosis might be for you. if you want to go deeper into healing that trauma. So you can reach out to me about that as well, and we can chat about the best way to work together to really quickly move through the emotional stuff so that we can really step into this new reality, this new version of ourselves. But this is the first step. And it was very clear that I was supposed to talk about this today because even for those of us who are further along on the path, we always need to go back and check into what are our emotions telling us, what emotions haven't we processed, what are we still not looking at, because there's always something lurking in the shadows that when we look at it, things really shift. And I'll always be able to find it for you. That's what I love. Okay, so anyway, so it's important for everyone, is my point. So reach out to me with questions. That is all I have for today. My kids are home from school, so I'm going to go hang out with them. And I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you soon. Don't forget to listen to Reclaiming Consciousness and rate and review the show. Please rate and review the show. I will send you the miracle frequency activation for free, but that is how other people can see this amazing content. I have a really awesome episode coming out next week with Amberly Lyons from Chakra Girl Radio. We go deep. I'm a little bit nervous to release it because we talk about some really crazy shit, stuff I've never really talked about publicly. Just about like the dark energies on the planet, ETs, celebrities, like crazy shit. And we go really deep. So that's coming out on Thursday, and I'm really excited for you guys to listen. So please, again, reach out to me with questions, and I'm sending you so much love. I'll talk to you soon.